Okay, I guess that's for you, Rabbi. In my opinion, pornography is just a symptom of a much bigger issue. We as a society simply just don't know anymore what intimacy is and how it works, and people are becoming more and more isolated, and loneliness is just spreading in our society like cancer, and there clearly is a need for pornography as evidenced by the huge supply there is. So my question is, instead of trying to eliminate pornography from our society, why aren't we trying to find a cure for loneliness?
Rabbi Schmuley, I have to say that Great Britain has a minister for loneliness, and it's an interesting concept maybe other countries should take up.
Well, it's one of the reasons, getting back to this issue of celibacy, the very first thing that the Bible says is bad is that it is bad for man to be alone. And that's the beginning of Genesis. I completely agree. But how is pornography possibly compensation for real human company? The exact opposite is true. Pornography is the living degradation of women. It trains the male mind to see a woman as a means to an end. It makes women into the walking embodiment of a male erotic fantasy. And it leads to disrespect because it means that women exist to fulfill those erotic fantasies. I actually think that it does a serious, toxic harm to how men view women, and it makes them very objective about women, meaning the only synonym I can find for love is the word subjectivity, because to love is to be rendered subjective. Your emotions actually color and transform and enhance the object of your love. But when you become too objective, when you've absorbed thousands and thousands of these images, you learn to look at women very objectively to the extent that it's difficult to be attracted to women, because you're no longer responding instinctually, you're responding almost psychologically. It's no longer a visceral attraction. I'm astonished that the greatest technological wonder that we've created since man stepped on the moon, the internet, 70% of it is pornography, and we don't talk about it. And the fact is that men have to learn how to be gentlemen. Men have to learn how to respect women. We've focused a lot about the damage done to children. And I completely agree that every cleric has to be held accountable. And we have to also emphasize that rabbis and priests and imams, we're only human beings, and we struggle, and we're not divine. And I agree with so much of that criticism. But let's not forget how many women are being turned off of sexuality because of the male approach. So loneliness is real. It has to be addressed. I don't know if we have to create a minister, but I'll volunteer myself to be Australia's Minister of Love and Loneliness. I'll be the love rabbi. But I would love to see women stepping up and saying this is unacceptable. Do you know how many marriages I counsel where there is a living, breathing, beautiful wife naked in bed while her husband is online looking at fictional images of porn? And of course, porn only works in great quantity. It no longer, Playboy, all these magazines were killed by internet porn because there's only one woman. If you click internet porn, tens of thousands of images suddenly arise, or so my friends tell me. And the reason is because it leads to boredom. It leads to erotic boredom. Familiarity breeds contempt. So it desensitizes us erotically. It diminishes attraction. It degrades women. It makes men incapable of being attracted to one woman. And finally, it makes sex so boring because porn uses just a few formulaic sexual devices that are always the same. It stifles real sexual creativity, and it makes men think that sex is not sensual. It's not about connecting with a woman, but it's about doing things to a woman. And I think its toxicity finally has to be exposed. The fact that someone like Pamela Anderson would join me in publishing a book, this book, Lust for Love, when, you know, she has appeared on the cover of Playboy more than any other woman. And we debated this, and she says that Playboy is art, and I don't necessarily agree, but she definitely agrees about hardcore pornography. So the more, it's almost like we want to look at the Me Too movement, and we want to change male behavior, but without looking at some of the factors that are causing men to disrespect women, that are causing men to look at women as a means to an end rather than as an end in and of themselves.